Hi guys, it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel. Very big warm welcome to my new subscriber. Big up. Nice to have you here. So guys, update. Because in the last video I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. And if you didn't see it, just to fill you in, I've been having a huge conflict with one of my nearest and dearest, completely out of the blue, and it's been very challenging. And I have been defensive in this conflict, and I wasn't sure whether I was defending my truth and my values, or I was like in a complete ego defense mechanism mode. And can you guess which one it was? So I've been shown the light, at least partially, as far as I'm aware until this moment. And so I knew before that I was being defensive, right? And this video is for anybody who gets defensive in conflict or like in their day-to-day, when you're triggered. And I think that's probably most of us, but I was defensive to the point where I had been completely cut off from my emotional truth of the situation, meaning I wasn't able to access my emotions. So I was being incredibly defensive and very cerebral about the entire conflict, but not really feeling anything, which was the first sort of like alarm bells. And so I knew I was defensive, but I didn't know what I was defensive about, or I didn't know what I was defending, and I didn't know why. And I was graced with the perfect TikTok live that I needed, that explained word for word the experience that I was going through and really helped me understand the situation. So I'm going to share that with you now, but I want to give full credit to Tanya Beauty Healing, I think is her name. I'm going to double check that, and I'm going to put it in the description because she needs full credit for this. She's amazing. If you are into shadow work or you want to know what it is, go to her. This woman, love your work, babe. Anyway, she helped me and she gave this amazing analogy which I want to share here. So imagine two people are walking down the street and they accidentally bump into each other. Boop. And one of them falls over and starts bleeding, right? Now, any normal, sane person would be like, oh, I'm so sorry. That was a complete accident. Are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help? Right? Basic humanity. Now, if you're defensive, if you have like this ego defense mechanism in place, which I do, I was so cut off. So basically, I was so afraid that that person was going to blame me for the accident. Okay, and like this analogy relates to you trigger somebody with your words or your actions by accident, and then they tell you that they're triggered. Oh, by the way, when you said this, I felt this. So, you know, or when you knocked me over, you know. Now, I was so terrified that they thought that I triggered them on purpose, and therefore I'm a mean, horrible person, and I don't deserve to have love ever from anyone. That is how, like, I responded in that situation when I accidentally bumped into someone and they fell on the floor. So they're down there like, ow, that really hurt, can you help me? And I'm up here going, get over it. Well, I didn't do anything. That's not my fault. That's your problem. Deal with it. Can you see? It, like, I totally lacked compassion for the other person because I was so afraid that they were going to judge me wrongly, or even when you've triggered somebody and they're calling you out, like maybe you did do something wrong. But it was such a, like, I clearly have this core identity of I'm a good person and I never hurt anyone. And that was under threat. And I friggin' like, and the thing about this defense mechanism, if you get defensive, is it cuts off my emotion. So there was zero compassion, and I wasn't able to access compassion for this person and help them up when they fell on the floor. I couldn't help them up with that. I was like in complete denial that I was anything to do with their pain. And for about a month, I have been cut off from accessing compassion to like my best friend. I was just terrified that she thought I was a terrible person, so I couldn't admit to it. Now, I consider myself a pretty aware person. I've been doing the work for quite some years, and this feels like basic 101, and I was not able to see. Oh my God, so I've been freaking humbled by this experience. But also, I think it speaks to, because there's so much now about narcissism and how toxic narcissists are and and all this, and it's such a misunderstanding of what their experience is actually, because I have observed in this month that I've exhibited narcissistic traits. I have been aware of that, and I've been like, shit, like, oh my God, I'm like this awful person, because I couldn't feel empathy for the person. And it goes even further. There were times when I reveled in that. I felt in so much control of the conflict because I wasn't getting emotional about it. And there was like this tiny smile on my face. And at the same time, I knew that was like deeply, deeply wrong in my moral universe. So it was I was in a very confused state, but as I said, I didn't know what I was defending, and what I was defending was my identity, that I don't hurt people. And what I needed to know in that moment is, Jessie, it's not your fault. You didn't mean to. That was an accident. That was a complete accident. Now, what can you do to remedy the situation and the hurt that you accidentally caused? And I really want it to be understood that when we're constantly pointing the finger and saying, like, you know, like, they're an ass, they did this. Narcissists, or people with narcissistic traits, which is like a lot of us, by the way, if your needs weren't catered to or met in childhood, and you just learn how to survive by meeting your own needs, like, you're cut off from the emotional truth of a situation. So to be like, oh, they're evil, they don't feel, they want to manipulate, no, they're literally just trying to survive. And it can feel horrible when you're on the receiving end of it. Don't, like, believe you me, I've been both ends of this baby. And it is incredibly hurtful when it seems like people don't care, but actually I would just argue that they don't have the capacity. They're cut off. I was cut off for a month of having compassion for my best friend. It was insane, people. So be wary of these ego defense mechanisms, okay? Find out what yours is. And honestly, like, obviously I'm speaking to myself here, but like, my goodness, the next millisecond I realize that I'm being defensive, I am gonna just shut up and sit down and seriously reflect on what it is, where it is, where I feel like my character's being attacked, which is a misperception, actually, potentially, like maybe they are, but still it's down to me how I respond, and what my self-worth is in myself. Like, clearly there's a part of me that still believes that. So I need to revisit that part and really, really get her on board. Like, I'm not a bad person. Sometimes I accidentally hurt people. And I'm not perfect, and nobody is, so that's okay. But yeah, the fear, the absolute fear. And the way, I'm just blown away by it. I'm blown away. And the ego is such a sneaky thing. And at the end of the day, was all to keep me safe. So there's no judgment there, but I'm a little bit embarrassed that I couldn't spot it, and I needed this very blatant TikTok video to tell me what was going on. I am a bit embarrassed about that, but hey, We're all walking each other home. And you're not perfect, Jessie. I'm going to leave it there. If you like the video, like it. If you get defensive, let me know, and then I might feel a bit less alone. Or you've been on the other end of the scale. And what's your experience of that? And yeah, let me know in the comments below. And subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you like it. Okay, love you, love you, love you. Have a beautiful day, guys, beautiful night, and see you next time.